That's what's up. Wow. Yeah, I got a new chair. It's bumping into everything. I don't like it. I like my old chair. What's up, everybody? New chair being over here. Welcome to episode 105 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. I'm glad you're here. I can't take it. I'm going to have to lower it. It sucks. There we go. That's it. Okay. Solution-based thinking, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Yes, we're here on YouTube. If that's you, hello. If you're in your car and you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts or any of those wonderful platforms, hello to you. Hello in your car. Watch out. See, you got to watch out there. Just pay attention and we're going to be fine. Okay? Guys, what a great week this is. Lots of Jets news. Some of it completely fake, right? So a lot of it just completely fake stuff, but some of it very, very real. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about our feelings today. We'll get into lots of feelings. How are we feeling with this? It's interesting. Lots of Jets fans are already tired of the offseason. I don't recall a year in my recent memory, like the last 5, 6, 10 years, where Jets fans were as exhausted as they are this early in the process. I mean, shit, the Super Bowl was a week ago, 2 weeks, something like that. And we're done. We're exacerbated, exhausted, exclamated. We're all those things. And it's really interesting. I mean, as a collective, I'm getting that from all angles. We're going to talk about that, break that down just a smidgeroon for you if you're on that side of things. Maybe we can help organize some thoughts. We're going to do all those things. Got Derek Carr, we got Aaron Rodgers, we got Carl Lawson news. So we'll talk about all that stuff. Guys, welcome to episode 105 of this podcast. I am happy you're here. Now, we're going to get into all the good Jet stuff right after I do a few little tiny things. One is do the old milk thumbs. That's right. We invented this just yesterday in a video. Milk thumb time. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It changes the algorithm. YouTube goes, oh, they're hitting the milk thumbs. Go ahead and push this video out there to more human beings. So if you'd be so kind, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. If you really want to be nice, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That's how the channel grows. It's really the only way we can do it. If you're in a nice mood, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You do it once, you never got to do it again. It's really beautiful. It's like click, that's it. It's the end. And I appreciate it. It really does help. And I'm grateful to all who have done it thus far. Now, guys, if you want, look, we're going into the off season, right? The off season really just started. The Beanbaggers are in full swing. That's my Patreon group. 3 tiers of awesome people. If you'd like to get involved with that and have weekly breakdowns and private mocks and private classic game streams and all sorts of fun stuff, if you're in the mood for extra goodness, the link is in the description. It says very simply, join the Beanbaggers. You can click on there. Come on in, hang out with us. We'd love to have you. And guys, just breaking it down, honestly, it helps the channel immensely. And I am incredibly grateful to all my Beanbaggers and to any of you who would consider joining the fun and hanging out with us, man. I take it seriously. I love those guys. And I would love you if you came on. I would love to have you come on, I should say. I already love you. Come on. And to thank our sponsor for GreenBean's Jets Pod, none other than Manscaped, who, by the way, have gone up from below the waist men's grooming products to above the shoulders. Ooh, look at that. This is the head trimmer. This thing is amazeballs. I want you to know that. It's fantastic. You see this wheel? It takes all those attachments. When you have a buzzer, you have 150,000 attachments. They're everywhere. No more. No more. Manscaped, man, dude, they think of everything. I was blown away with the flashlight on the Lawnmower 4.0. Now the wheel, the attachment, it's amazing. It's a great product. I love it to death. I love everything that I've used from Manscaped. I'm almost out of the beard oil already. Look, fluffy duff. I'm using, dude, there's Manscaped oil on this beard right now. I'm not even lying. That's the truth. If you'd like to get your Manscaped products at a 20% discount, why not? When you go to manscaped.com and you pick your items, when you get to checkout, go ahead and throw the promo code GreenBean in there. Before you pay, you're going to like what it does. 20%, whoosh, right out. Goodbye, 20%. Done. Get out of here. You no longer need to pay it. And as always, Manscaped throws in free shipping. What could be better? Great products, great price, extra bonus off, and free shipping. I mean, what is it, right? What is going on? So there you go. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring GreenBean's Jets Pod. Well, here we are. Episode 105. Last week was episode 104. Which is the combo of 2 years, 52 and 52, 104. I didn't even realize it. That was our 2-year anniversary of sorts. Didn't exactly happen. We had a week off here, a week off there. But generally speaking, 2 straight years of shows every single week except for 4, 5, maybe. So it was a 2-year anniversary. Yay! Okay. So that's what that was. We celebrated by looking at DJ Reed. This week, our player profile is an interesting, somewhat polarizing player named Mike effing White. Number 5, the number that Garrett Wilson hoped to receive when he got here, but nope, Mike effing White had it. Now he's G17, right? We're all good with that. 17's fine with me. It looks like it's fine with him. He's gonna carve out 17 in jet green like nobody else has. I'm totally fine with that. But number 5 is manned by Mike effing White, a 5th round pick of the Dallas Cowboys in the 2018 draft. Just for a little bit of comparison's sake, the pick that they got right before Mike White, the Cowboys, that is, they picked Dalton Schultz, the Jets, in the 4th round before they got to the 5th round, which they didn't have any picks that year because McCagnon's trading craziness. They picked Chris Herndon. So we picked Chris Herndon. Dallas picked Dalton Schultz and Mike White. Here we are with Mike White, Dalton Schultz. We know about that guy. Chris Herndon is, I don't know, basket weaving somewhere or something along those lines. Joe Douglas was able to trade Chris Herndon, making a 6th into a 4th, I think is what it was. Not a bad move because Chris Herndon did very, very little for the Minnesota Vikings. But yeah, that's who we thought, a round and a half later, the Dallas Cowboys take Mike White. They end up letting him go, and we've had him ever since. Now, Mike White, what an interesting player this guy is. Now, he's a quarterback, 6'4", 218 pounds. He played his college at 2 separate schools. One is South Florida University, whose claim to fame is Jason Pierre-Paul coming out of there. He came out of there and obviously had himself quite the little career in the NFL as well, mainly with the Giants. That's how most people think of him. But so he went to that school as well. Now, Mike White transferred to Western Kentucky in the similar conference, the USA Conference, which is interesting. That's where also James Morgan played ball. Now, Western Kentucky had Mike White for 3 years, and South Florida had him for 2 years, so he was 5 years, 2 junior years, or a 5th-year senior, right? He had 2 straight 4,000-plus yard seasons. It was 4,300 and change, and then 4,100 and change. Now, for those 2 years, he had 63 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. Not bad, man. Now, the competition is lower, all that stuff, but still, That is not bad. 63 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Now he comes in, he plays for the Jets. We all know what happened. He comes in the Cincinnati game, and he lights the world on fire in 2021. 400 yards and change, just blows everybody up. Comes out the next week, and he plays against the Indianapolis Colts. He drives our team right down into the end zone to Elijah Moore, touchdown, and then he hurts his finger, and we don't know what, we lose track of him, right? Josh Johnson comes in, throws for 350, whatever, and then Zach ends up coming back. Mike White came back and got hurt against Buffalo. It was whole craziness, and that's kind of been the story. He came in again in 2022, had another wonderful game. Our offense was stagnant, stuck in the mud. Mike White comes in, loosens up all the nuts, and we're flowing. We're jiving. Everything seems to be working out, and then it stops again. Why? Because Mike White gets hurt again. Now, Mike White's injuries are really, it's an anomalous type of a situation, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. Is he injury prone, or did he have a string of bad luck, and it's just the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes? It's hard to tell because he's had like 5 injuries in the 7 or 8 starts that he's had. That's a lot, no matter how you slice it. So it's a finger, it's a shoulder, it's the ribs, Now, in the Buffalo game, he had just a walloping hit from Milano. He goes into the locker room, the offense stalls, Flacco fumbles, and Buffalo kind of takes that 4 minutes and uses it to catapult them to the victory. No lie, not even exaggerating. Mike White runs back out, and everybody goes, yeah, and then the offense starts kicking again, and we made it a game. And he Iron Manned himself into really hero status in many people's eyes. But then the doctor says, no, you can't play, non-contact and all this jazz. Zachy Poo goes back in, looks like complete dookie. And then Mike White comes back in a few weeks later. He doesn't look the same. He's playing with hurt ribs. And you could see it. He looks completely different. Looks very Zach-esque, if I'm being real honest. And so we don't know what the hell we have with this guy. Is he a really good backup? Is he a starter in waiting? Or is he just a guy you can't depend on? We just don't know. I mean, we've seen him play at an NFL level. We've seen him play at a high NFL level. But we've also seen him in a handful of starts go to the sideline, go to the locker room, go meet the doctors for numerous reasons. And it's an interesting thing. How long will the Jets want to kind of wait for him to come around? We just don't know. This is going to be a very, very telling offseason for one Mike White. Truth is, I like him a whole bunch. I do think that he can be a long-term backup. I don't know if I would depend on him to start. I don't know. I just don't know. But there he is, Mike White. Let me know what you think about Mike White in the comments. How you feeling? Is this the guy you want as a backup, or do you want him to go get Jacoby Brissett after we sign Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers or whoever it is that we're going to get to start? You want him to just look, the Mike White experience is over? I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. But no matter how you slice it, episode 105, Derek Carr, Mike White is our dude. So like I mentioned earlier, we got Jets news. We got stuff, some of it even real. We have actual real news. And for that, let's get into this installment of the News of the Week. So what to start with? Do I do that? Do I do this? I don't think it's really possible not to start with the Derek Carr visit, right? Yay! So the Jets now become the second team that Derek Carr has met with post Raiders starting quarterback situation, right? He met with the Saints while he was still technically with the Raiders. They did the whole, hey, we're hoping to get anything out of this trade because Josh McDaniels is a complete moron, and ruined the opportunity to get anything for Derek Carr. And he goes and meets with the Saints and he goes, no, that's not what we'll be doing. You will not get a third. You will not get a fifth. You will not get a seventh, Sam I am. He will not let them get anything. So now he's a free agent. He met with the Saints while he was with the Raiders. So technically speaking, Derek Carr's first free agent visit with the New York Jets. And that's good and bad. Why is it good? Well, it's good because we get first crack at him. We're first. And it's bad because we're first. If he does meet with anyone else, we're going to be forgotten. Let's say Aaron Rodgers decides to go back and next week, right? Aaron Rodgers goes, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay right here or I'm going to retire. And we let Derek Carr and he's, go and he's over there at the Titans and he's meeting with the Panthers and everybody else. By that time, he's being wooed. He's eating cupcakes and Italian food from totally new places, and we could be completely forgotten. Now we're calling, hey, remember us? So it's an interesting place to be. No matter how you slice it, though, we are meeting with him. And here's another interesting wrinkle that we've been talking about. Not a lot of people really kind of talked about this. They didn't really stumble on this one. It just so happens that one of the main concerns with our quarterback hopes in this offseason is that we're going to wait for Aaron Rodgers, lose out on Derek Carr. Derek Carr is going to sign somewhere. Aaron Rodgers is going to leave us at the altar, and then we're stuck with Jimmy G, Tannehill, and the like. Clearly, there are tiers here, right? Now, Aaron Rodgers, in many people's eyes, is at the top alone. But right below him, in most people's eyes, is Derek Carr. There are the people that like Jimmy G more. There are people that like Tannehill more. And there's even a smattering of people who like Gardner Minshew more. And that's normal, right? That stuff happens. But Derek Carr, by and large, is quarterback 2 in most people's eyes. There are the people that like him 1 as well. So if we lose him, waiting for Rodgers and the whole, the story. So this is what Joe Douglas pulled together. I don't know how it was planned or whatever, but I choose to believe that Joe Douglas worked it all out this way on purpose. Aaron Rodgers happens to be going into his darkroom retreat this weekend, Friday to Monday, right? That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it just so happens that Derek Carr, we're not just waiting. Derek Carr is here. He's in the New York Jets facility while Aaron Rodgers is in the dark retreat. So look, maybe he doesn't make it 4 days. Maybe he makes it 2 days, maybe 3 days. And he comes out early and goes, oh my God, I just need to sign with the Jets. Then they know. Joe Douglas figured out a way to have Derek Carr here, captive audience. They're going to lasso him. They're not going to let him leave until Aaron Rodgers decides to leave come outside of the dark room. And then we have a better chance of knowing. I think it's brilliant. Derek Carr is here so we're not just waiting while Derek Carr gets courted and wined and dined around the country. He's in Florham Park while it's happening. I think it's a slam dunk move. It couldn't have been worked out any better. And it's too good to just be happenstance, in my opinion. So there's that. Now look, we found out where they're eating lunch, right? We don't know where they ate dinner. They're in Summit, New Jersey at Fiorino's Ristorante. We don't know what they ordered, but I think they got the pappardelle bolognese. That's what I did, I think. So they're taking them to nice Italian restaurants. Of course, they're going to take them to the best that they have in the area. This is right here. That's right there. We got the Morristown Airport right here. We got downtown Morristown right there. We got this over here. We got that over there. They're showing them what's in the immediate vicinity, and they're also going to show them, I would bet, hey, man, New Jersey gets a bad rap. Take a look at these neighborhoods. This is not what you think. Mendham, right? Even Florham Park, Morris Plains, Morris Lake, all these places, that's not what you think. When you think about New Jersey, especially people who aren't from there, you don't realize what that chunk of Jersey's like. Nice, beautiful, big houses with lots of space and quiet neighborhoods and kids out front laughing. That's what it's like. So they're showing Derek Carr the whole thing, and while they wait for Aaron Rodgers, who many people believe is their true number 1, which is fine, and Carr is sort of a 1B. It's great. Me, I'm hoping they just sign Carr. That's what I'm hoping. Just sign him. Don't let him leave. Just sign him. Let's put this to bed. Have him for the next 5 to 10 years as opposed to throwing some picks to have a guy for 2 years, maybe, right? 1, 2, who knows, maybe 3. But that's really all you're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to have to give picks, and you're going to pay dead cap after the thing. You sign Derek Carr, and you have the opportunity to create your own contract with him. You don't have to give up a single pick. You don't have to give up a 2028 7th. You don't have to give up a damn thing. You sign him. He's here long term. I know how you feel about Zach. I get it. Still develop him as a backup if you want. It doesn't matter. But this would trump what I want to do with Zach. In my eyes, it's clean. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. 1 here over 2 over there. I'll take the 1 here 99 out of 100 times. And I think it's a smart move. We'll see. We'll see what they do. But no matter how you slice it, Derek Carr is at the Jets facility. So any smoke screen or whatever, or that he was going to come, or they might have had interest, we now know the Jets are interested. And Derek Carr is at least interested enough to come visit. And that's where we are. We have Todd Downing. We have Nathaniel Hackett. So we have connections to Derek Carr. Successful connections. Happy connections. Hugs and kisses type of stuff. So, hey, who knows? Maybe it's the perfect fit. Maybe it's the exact right guy for what we're trying to do. Time will tell. But no matter how you slice it again, he's here. Another thing that we got going on, none other than Connor Hughes from SNY, who will happen to be a guest on the Thursday Thick of It right here on our channel on March 9th, is reporting that the Jets will absolutely not keep Carl Lawson the way his contract is currently structured. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that we kind of gave him a 2-year contract, and if he blew the roof off the joint, we had him for a third at $15 million. But even though he was very good last year, he was a very good pivotal piece to our defensive line rotation and ultimately to the success of the entire defense, $15.5 million, too much for what he's given us. And the Jets are going to approach him and say, hey, we need you to restructure. We need cap space. We got to figure this out. We'd love to have you. If you can't, if you're not, then we're going to cut you because we got about $300,000 in dead cap and we're going to recoup 15 and change for cutting you. So that's what Connor Hughes is saying. He's kind of letting us know that the word he's receiving is that is absolutely the truth. Sure, we've speculated about it for weeks, for months. We've speculated, and we know our stuff. We pay attention out here. But now it's looking like that's actually what's going to happen. Now, we don't know how firm the sources are and all that jazz, but it does look like now that this stuff is coming out and it's being presented to us pretty firmly, it more than likely will be the case. It makes sense. That's the whole thing. It actually makes sense to rework them, get them down, $5 million or something, spread it out, make it a bonus, those kinds of things. He doesn't lose that much money, but it's reworked, and then you can move on and you gain that capital to try to be able to get the quarterback that you want, to re-sign Quinnen, maybe Quincy, Quan. All these guys need to be re-signed, and we don't have any money, so we got to find it somewhere. Carl Lawson, if he's a team player, will work with us. And we got to do the same with CJ Mosley and a few other guys. Maybe even Berrios, get a couple million back there, that kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. But Carl Lawson, the Jets will not keep him at the contract number where it is right now. So either there's a restructuring or a cutting in his future. I made a video about this a few weeks ago. I'm really hoping they figure it out with Carl Lawson because, again, this was his first year off of the Achilles injury. And, guys, it was his second most productive season in his career. He was good. No, he doesn't have the sack numbers that we want. We wanted 14 sacks. He didn't do that. He gave us 7 sacks, but all sorts of quarterback hits, quarterback pressures, hurries, in addition to 20 tackles, or I think it was 11 tackles for a loss and 24 quarterback hits. So he's there. Plus, he got held constantly. I think he only had 2 penalties, and he was held 5,000 times. But either way, He's an impactful player. He's very, very good on the field and in the locker room. I think it would behoove us to work it out with him and see where that goes. Now, an interesting thing, talking about Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr and all that jazz, something came out of Green Bay that's pretty interesting. A longtime Green Bay reporter, Bob McGinn, said something on a podcast that's a little bit more forward than you're used to hearing. I mean, the last few years there have been rumors about whether or not Aaron Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay. Are they going to trade him? Is he going to retire? It's been a few years of this, and quite frankly, Green Bay fans are getting a little bit tired of it. You know, the same thing happened with Barry Sanders. I actually talked to some Detroit Lions fans back in the day, and I was like, Barry Sanders was my favorite running back in the NFL. I thought there was nobody that could touch him. And I was having this conversation. I've had a few conversations, actually. But they reminded me, like, dude, you don't get it. Every year, we're wondering if he's going to even play. Every year, like from 7, 8, 9, in his 10th year, it was like, ugh. Just go already. That's how they felt about him, as much as they loved him. The same kind of thing is happening with Aaron Rodgers as far as with a lot of the fan base. Now, Bob McGinn came out the last few years saying there's no way Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. Don't worry about it. This is all baloney. This year, he said this. The Packers are disgusted with Aaron Rodgers and the way he's handling things. Disgusted? That's a very extreme way to feel about any situation. Disgusted is like at the end, right? Now, what could they be disgusted with? I mean, is his aloof kind of, I don't know if I'm going to stay and blah, blah, blah. I mean, going from signing that contract last year, now they had to offer that to him. They had to agree to that contract. Essentially, it's a 3-year contract, but it's really a 5-year contract, and it's got all kinds of dead money and $100 million in dead cap if they cut him, and crazy, weird contract. Quite frankly, for a bumpkin like myself, it's kind of hard to understand. Honestly, it's one of the more difficult contracts that I've looked at, and but they agreed to it a year ago. Now they're at a point where they're disgusted. Find that a little bit interesting. No matter how you slice it, though, those are the words that are coming out of the Green Bay area, whether it's their fans, whether it's their longtime reporters. The narrative has changed, so the idea that he's just going to return to Green Bay might not be on the table. He has openly said, hey, man, if they're going to rebuild, I'm not going to be a part of some rebuild with all these new kids and we suck and we don't have any talent. He said that publicly. Well, how about if they meet that with, hey, by the way, we don't fucking want you here. How about that? You don't want to be a part of the rebuild, but we don't want you a part of the rebuild. We got a great quarterback, first-round pick that we traded up to get. He's been grooming here for 3 years, a la what you did behind Brett Favre. We're ready to move on. We don't want you here. You don't have the choice of coming back, so pick your team or retire. That would be interesting. How would he feel? You go, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I didn't know everybody was so sensitive. That's what he's going to be. It's like guys that go, I don't care. Screw you. And I'm screw you. Wait, you're mad at me? The bottom lip. I didn't know I was hurting everybody's feelings. That's what'll happen, I think. He'll be like, oh, well, I don't care. Oh, all right. So then he'll come to the Jets or the Raiders or the Titans or the Falcons or what have you. Now, the good thing about the Jets, like Garrett Wilson said, we have more talent than anybody out there. We have the best defense. We got wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, just all over the joint. We're a damn good team. We got offensive linemen coming back. Graziano called us the number one landing spot for these quarterbacks. We're the most attractive, which is interesting to hear. That's not what we usually hear about our team out there. So we'll see how that goes. And he comes out of the dark retreat and goes, voila, I got an epiphany. Great. If he goes, I need 3 more months, dude, move on. Sign Derek Carr at all costs. But it is interesting that we have him here while he's doing the dark retreat. Isn't that nice? I'll tell you, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Carl Lawson, and that is the news of the week. Yep, news. I'll tell you, it's a weird thing with the news. We try to tell you guys every single year, 9 out of 10 stories are complete baloney, but nobody believes it. We get mad, we get sad, we fight with each other, and then it just goes down the way. A new report comes out and replaces the old, and we get mad and we get sad and we fight about it. Let's discuss this. Let's see what's going on. Why are Jets fans so exhausted already this early into the process? And for that, we'll get into this week's intelligent gripe. Gripey. That's what we do. And my whole thing, man, it's like as a Jets fan, I have found myself over the years, especially like as I kind of, my late teenage years into my early 20s, piss and vinegar, man. I was full of piss and vinegar. Marvin Jones, the whole thing. That's what, so much disappointment, just so much hope and belief and disappointment over and over again. But it's interesting. When you're around here for a long time, even though, look, we're jaded as jaded can be. You got the guys who are super hopeful every year. That's great. I try to be one. I am, but I'm not Homer hopeful. I don't know. I can't. But I try to be at least constructively hopeful. But I can't do it when things are absolute garbage. The interesting thing about the last couple of years, and we're seeing it, is that there actually is some reasons, a reason or two or three, to have that hope, to believe we're turning a corner. Now, the saddest part about the whole thing is that our number 2 overall pick, and really the guy we built everything around, Zach Wilson, looks like he's not quite gonna make it. And that is a shame because the rookie quarterback contract is really helpful when you're trying to build this team. Having to go out and spend $45 million is not exactly what the doctor ordered. We want to re-sign Quinnen. You want to, keep Quan Alexander or Quincy Williams and everybody else. You want to be able to do that. Maybe even McGovern or whatever. But you can't because Zach didn't make it. And that sucks. And then you add to that the fact that this really hopeful, exciting season went down the tubes. With a whimper. We lost AVT. We lost Breece Hall. And in many respects, we lost Zach Wilson. And then Mike White, our player profile of the week, came in. And then and it's just one of those things. We watched it collapse before our eyes. And we had, even by Jet standards, an epic collapse. So it taints everything. But the truth is that we're starting this offseason later than we have in years. And why is that? Because one of the things that we hoped coming into this season, I just want meaningful games in December. I just want meaningful games at Thanksgiving. I just want meaningful football. I want to see in the hunt. Well, we saw all of that. That culminated in us not being, really focused on the draft prospects in late November, early December. We were into January before I even really started looking at all. But something interesting is happening. Even though we came that far, second to last week of the season, still being in the hunt, even though we weren't really looking at the offseason until that late in the season, for some reason, Jets fans are utterly exhausted. I made a video about Italian food in Summit, New Jersey. That's just what they're feeding Derek Carr, and that's good. That's what they're whining and dining. We know about the cupcakes with Devonta Hightower and whatever. This is what we do this every year. This is the kind of stuff, this is what you get at this time of year. We got to talk about it. But for some reason, people don't like it. Look where we are. You got to talk about Italian food. This is bullshit. And on one hand, I totally get it. It's Italian food in Summit, New Jersey. If you're in Brooklyn, you're like, what do I give a shit? I understand. At the same time, every year right now, this is what we're talking about. And it just so happens that we do have a major story, which is the number 2 quarterback on the market. And look, really the number 1, because Aaron Rodgers isn't even on the market. But so the number 1 quarterback, free agent quarterback, is in the Jets facility. The details of that are going to be what we talk about. But still, I can't wait till this is over. It's fucking exhausting. Why is it? Well, something's happening this year. And I think, interestingly, a lot of new folks are doing this. Like, again, I've shared with you guys many times. I've been hanging out online doing Jets shit since 1998, right? I've been doing this, like having thousands of people to argue with on the computer since the 90s, right? A lot of people just figured this out. Holy shit, there are people out there in 2018, 2020. So it's kind of new. Now, for me, I've gone up and down and all that. I don't care. I can't do it this year. I've done it. At this point, I gotta say, I look at this period of the season with glee, with delight. I enjoy the whole process. I like looking at draft picks and kind of breaking them down, comparing guys, looking at all the stuff. And then I look at all the stories and this is kind of whatever. I got to talk about it, but it's kind of bullshit. And there are 2 ways to look at this at this point. Again, I've been doing this since the 90s. Some other people have too. And I know a lot of you. Matthias Simon, Southern Jet. I mean, there's a lot of us out there, right, that have been doing this for decades. But even us, there are 2 ways to look at this thing. 2 ways to go about this entire off-season news cycle. And every year I make a video trying to help. I just try to help, man. I'm one of us. I'm just trying to help my friends. One way to go about it is you believe that everything being said is real and you attach an emotional response to it. Oh my God, if that happens, I'm going to choke my mother. That kind of stuff. I'll never watch another play of the Jets. I always like to comment on that stuff and go, yeah, you will. You fibber. Yeah, and of course, I know, we know it's the moment. But that's the thing, you can kind of see it. So the one way is everything coming out. You wake up in the morning, you look up the Jets news with your cup of coffee, and you see, the Jets are going to sign Ryan Tannehill. And you get all freaked out. You go on Twitter, and you get all mad, and somebody goes, I like Ryan Tannehill because you're an asshole. And that's what you do. That's one way to do it. And then the new story comes in, replaces that one, and you got a whole... That's the Tannehill stuff. It's gone. It's gone. Remember a week ago, we were hearing the Jets are willing to give multiple picks for Ryan Tannehill. That's what we heard. It's not even being discussed anymore. Why? Because it's not real, most likely. At least we think, right? The other way to go about this is this. Believe nothing is real. Nothing is real. Ride the news cycle like it's a wave at the beach, man. When it is real, react. React to nothing until it's final. ESPN found out that it was filed with the NFL league office that the Jets have traded Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers for a 2nd and 4th in next year's draft and a 6th round pick in this year's draft. That's real. Now, how do I feel about it, right? That's what we do. That's the whole thing. So, again, I'm not telling you what's right, what's wrong. I don't give really a damn. Whatever's good for you is good for you. But there's really only 2 ways to do this. And if you're finding yourself utterly exhausted, oh my God, you might want to consider the other way. That is what I got for you, and that is the intelligent gripe. News, news, news. I got the blues. News, news, news. I got the blues. I'll tell you what, guys. Here's what I'm going to just drop it all down to the core level here. We just won Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's never been done by a New York Jets organization. Obviously, we've never won both because we've never won offense. We've never had an offensive rookie of the year. For whatever reason, no matter what face, what name, where they come from, anybody who ends up running the Jets focuses on defense more than offense. Why? I just don't know. I just don't know. Numerous times throughout our history, we've had great defenses. Very rarely have we had like a steamroller, greatest show on turf offense. Very rarely, man. Why? I just don't know. It's nice to see this organization placing a premium on offense. Look, in the first 3 drafts, Joe Douglas has used 2 first-round picks on offensive linemen. That's new. Another first-round pick on a quarterback. Okay. All right, we've done that before, never at number 2, so that's interesting. And then he used another first-round pick on a wide receiver, 10th overall, amazeballs. Then he trades up in the second round to get a running back, using the second round in 2020 on a receiver, second round in 2021 on Elijah Moore. First and second round picks and thirds and fourths on offense. That's the difference. Guys, no matter how we look at this, those are facts. You can say, it doesn't mean this. Okay, maybe it doesn't mean anything. But the fact is, this Jets team is doing things regularly that we've never done before. And just the premium on offense, the premium being placed on offense is something that we should be excited about. We get a quarterback in here, boy, oh boy, it's going to be exciting times because we got people waiting to get that ball, man. We have people waiting to get that ball. Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, whatever, man. Upgrade the quarterback position and let's see what happens. Guys, I'm so happy that you were here with me. What a great time we had together. The truth is I'm alone. I do this alone. I really do feel like you're here. Because if I didn't, I'd be a crazy person. I would. All right. Well, crazy people aside, I'm glad you were here. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. And as always, go Jets.